Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into a real global phenomenon, Netflix's K-pop Demon Hunters. Now, this animated series isn't just, topping charts. It's doing something culturally fascinating, weaving history and art into a super modern story. You've likely seen it popping up everywhere. #1 on streaming platforms globally. And get this, its theme song. It actually hit the top of the US music charts. That's pretty wild for an animated show. So what do you think makes K-pop Demon Hunters, let's call it K-Demon, what makes it resonate so deeply worldwide?
Well, what's really remarkable, I think, is how authentically Korean it feels. Even though it's a U.S. production, completely avoids that common trap where Western shows kind of mix up different East Asian cultures. Instead, you get this fresh rhythm, these incredibly vibrant visuals, and the music is just fantastic. It all feels genuinely Korean.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of why people are connecting with it, I believe.
I totally see that. It's definitely not just another cartoon, is it? And speaking of things that stand out, 2 characters have really stolen the show. The god, who's this powerful tiger, and Suzy, the very clever magpie. Their popularity is just immense. Merchandise demand is through the roof. So is there a deeper story here? Where do these 2 actually come from? Pure animation genius or something else?
Oh, it's definitely something else. Not just magic, no. They're actually rooted really deeply in minhwa, traditional Korean folk paintings.
Minhwa.
Specifically a type called magpie and tiger paintings, or kachi horangi. You might have even seen them in Korean restaurants sometimes.
Yeah, I know exactly the ones you mean. Okay. The tiger in those, it often looks a bit, funny, right? Kind of humorous, not the terrifying predator you might expect. And the magpie is always there, perched somewhere nearby. What's the deal with that specific portrayal? The funny tiger, the magpie.
You're absolutely spot on. The tiger in minhwa is rarely depicted as fearsome. It's often humorous, playful, sometimes even a bit silly looking, even though it usually takes up a huge part of the painting.
Right.
And the magpie.
Right.
It's invariably there, like its co-star. And it's important. We call them kachi horangi, by the way. Yeah. That term, jakodo, isn't really the traditional Shazan era name for them.
That's interesting. A powerful tiger, but looking kind of foolish, and a little bird almost, mocking it. Does this dynamic in the minhwa paintings, does it have a deeper meaning? Maybe something a bit subversive?
It absolutely could. Now, the exact origins, the reason why these anonymous folk paintings got so popular in the Jose era, is still a bit of a mystery.
Yeah.
Which, makes them fascinating to study. But yes, there's a really compelling theory. Many people interpret them as a subtle kind of popular resistance.
Really?
Yeah. The big, powerful, sometimes bumbling tiger is seen as representing maybe a corrupt or incompetent official. And the small magpie, often perched above him, seemingly making fun of him, well, that represents the common people. Sort of speaking truth to power, but in a coded, artistic way.
So all this time, I thought they were just charming folk art, and they might actually be subtle political cartoons. That's brilliant. You also mentioned that tigers appeared on military officials' robes, the hungbae, those embroidered chest patches. Was the humorous look part of that too, or was there another reason for making the tiger seem less fierce on official uniforms?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Yes, Chosin military officials had tiger hungbae. And there are probably 2 main reasons for that less than ferocious look. First, just practically speaking, it made the tiger easier to recognize as an icon for the embroidery. Almost like an early cartoon mascot, you could say.
Makes sense.
Second, and this is maybe more speculative, but it makes sense, it might have been a deliberate choice to not seem too powerful or intimidating, especially compared to the civil officials who wore Korean designs. You wouldn't want your fierce tiger patch to accidentally offend or overshadow a superior, right?
Office politics, even in embroidery.
Exactly. And think about why tiger images were so widespread generally. You had munbae.
Munbae.
Yeah, door paintings. Koreans traditionally hung them up at the start of the new year to ward off evil spirits. Tiger paintings were super popular for this. So that drove demand and made the tiger motif even more common. Plus, perceptions of tigers themselves were changing. In the late Joseon era, you had the introduction and spread of Koseon matchlock guns.
Right.
Championed by figures like Admiral Yi Sun-sin, actually. Suddenly, tigers weren't quite as terrifying because posu, hunters, could take them down more effectively. So that shift in the power dynamic probably also fed into portraying tigers as, a bit less intimidating, more approachable in art.
It's just incredible how many layers are packed into one image. History, technology, social dynamics. Okay, let's switch focus a bit to the magpie. Suzy in K-Demon Hunters is quite the the shin stealer, as they say. What makes the magpie itself so significant in Korean culture? It really seems to hold a special place.
It truly does. And get this, the Korean magpie, Pica serica, is actually a distinct species.
Really? Different from the ones in Europe.
Genetically different, yes.
Yeah.
From Pica, the European one. The Korean magpie is found mainly in Korea and parts of China. It's notably absent from most of Japan. And its scientific name, serica. That refers to silk. So it's culturally tied to the Silk Road to East Asia.
Wow, I had no idea the bird itself was sort of uniquely Korean in that region. And it's not just in art, right? I've heard the magpie is all over the Korean language in everyday sayings. Can you give us some examples?
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere. Hakachibal means standing on your tiptoes.
Like magpie feet.
Exactly. Then there's Kachi Seolnal, which is the day before Lunar New Year, Magpie New Year's Eve. Kachijip means messy hair, like a magpie's nest.
Huh, I can picture that.
And Kakachibab, that's fruit left on trees in winter, specifically for the magpies.
That's lovely.
Because they're smart birds and they don't migrate, their terrestrial people believe they recognize the area and would signal visitors. That led to the folk belief. Hear a magpie cry, it means a welcome guest is coming.
A good omen.
Definitely. There was even a specific Goseon-era belief.
Yeah.
If a magpie built its nest on the south side of your house, it meant the family would achieve a high government position.
Wow. Why the south side?
Well, it probably reflected the high value placed on getting a government job, but also maybe some practical wisdom. Prosperous, well-kept homes were often south-facing for sunlight and warmth, and maybe those just attracted magpies more. And quite poignantly, Yodeon officials who were exiled to Jeju Island, they apparently longed to see magpies. But magpies weren't on Jeju back then.
Ah, so they became a symbol of home, of good fortune they couldn't reach.
Exactly. A very powerful symbol.
That gives Susie the magpie and K-Demon so much more depth. Okay, another really cool cultural element in the show is the stage design, which uses the obang-sik, right? The 5 directions and colors. Tell us about that. What's the significance there?
Right, the obang-sik. It's a really core concept in Korean shamanism or musok. It assigned colors black, red, blue, white, and yellow to the 5 cardinal directions, north, south, east, west, and the center. What's particularly distinctive in Korean tradition is this emphasis on 5 directions. Many other cultures focus more on 4. The center is key here.
5 directions, 5 colors. Okay.
And there's a famous historical legend tied to this from the Silla dynasty involving a monk named Yeongnang.
Yeongnang, okay.
So during the Tang-Silla War, a really fierce conflict, Myeongnang performed a ritual. It was called the Munduru Bibep. It involves setting up a kind of temporary temple using colored cloths representing the directions and straw dolls for the Obangs and the 5 directional gods. 12 people performed the ritual.
And what happened?
Well, the legend says this ritual conjured up a huge storm. It completely scattered the invading Tang Chinese fleet. Myeongnang became a national hero overnight.
A magical storm summoned by a ritual that saved the kingdom. So was this literal magic, or is there maybe another way to look at Myeongnang's miracle?
That is the big question, isn't it? A more, let's say, grounded interpretation suggests something else might have been going on. See, Myeongnang was apparently quite well-traveled. He'd been to Tang, China.
Okay.
It's highly probable he interacted with maybe powerful maritime traders, maybe even pirates, who are often mythologized as sea dragons in the stories.
Ah, sea dragons, so people with sea knowledge.
Exactly. People who possessed unique, practical knowledge of ocean currents, weather patterns, maybe even secret sea routes. His supposed return from a dragon palace or from underground. Maybe that's a metaphor for secret journeys, gathering intelligence during the war, perhaps even illicit trips.
So the ritual...
The ritual was likely a brilliant combination. He probably used his real knowledge of maritime conditions. Maybe he could predict favorable winds for Silla or dangerous currents for the Tang fleet. He packaged that practical strategic advice within a compelling dramatic performance for the Silla military. The colored cloths, the dolls, the chant.
Out of performance.
Yeah, it would have been a massive morale booster. And it provided a kind of spiritual justification, a strategic cover for his very tactical, very real-world advice. The show gave weight to the strategy.
That is absolutely fascinating. Strategy disguised as ritual. What an incredible journey this deep dive has taken us on, seriously. We started with this super popular Netflix show, K-pop Demon Hunters, and ended up exploring centuries of Korean art, deep folklore, military history, even ancient shamanistic practices. It just goes to show how these rich cultural threads are woven through everything, even modern animation. So, here's something maybe for you to think about. How often does contemporary entertainment, like K-Demon, act as more than just fun? It can be this really powerful, engaging gateway, can't it? A way to understand the complex history, the values, the fears, maybe even the hopes of a whole culture. Next time you're watching something, maybe look a little closer for those deeper cultural layers. You might be really surprised at what you find.